Most expats focus on earning more, chasing salary raises and promotions. I prefer to focus on doing more with what I already earn, and it has made a huge difference in my financial life. Over the years, I've built a simple system made of just a few habits. They quietly grow my investments in the background, reduce my taxes, and give me real peace of mind months after months. And these aren't flashy strategies, and most people don't even know how powerful they are, but they have completely changed how I manage my money over the last decade. And today I'm going to share them with you. Hi, I'm Aysha. I'm a cross-border investment specialist in Zurich, Switzerland, with 20 years of professional experience in finance and a background that spans New York, Dubai, Amsterdam, Munich, and the UK. On this channel, we dive into the financial questions that matter most to high-earning expats and anyone managing their finances across several countries. The first one is automatic investing. And this is very simple. Actually, most of these habits are. And this is the first one I want to mention because it really changed the game for me. And I'm very certain that if you're not doing that yet, it will also be the case for you. Because when you invest automatically months after months, as soon as your salary comes in, then you not only invest as much as you can and continuously, you also remove these emotional aspects of investing, the second guessing yourself. Should I invest this month? Should I invest next month? Should I wait? What about the tariffs? What about the war in Ukraine, in Gaza? There is always some kind of things that we fear that maybe now is not the right time, maybe we need to wait. And the reality is when we do that, we actually make things work. It sounds counterintuitive, but when we try to pick the right time to invest and we wait and we do all of that, at the end of the day, we are shooting ourselves in the foot and that's a recipe for underperformance. And the more you remove emotions and basically a lot of the thinking process of investing, the more your portfolio will grow. The other part, obviously, is practical. Once it's automatic, you don't need to log in, you don't need to make the time for that. And if you're a busy woman like me with kids, a house, a busy professional life, then it's quite easy to have 2, 3, 6 months go by before you actually remember that take the time to log in and place transactions. Another advantage is that rather than investing maybe all your savings at once per year, when you invest automatically every month, sometimes the stock market is high, sometimes it's low, and so it averages out, which means you don't really take the risk of investing everything kind of at the wrong moment, even if over time, when you invest for the long term, and you should, investing at the wrong moment is not nearly as bad as you think. Actually, it doesn't matter that much over the long term. But psychologically, emotionally, it's pretty tough when you invest a big amount and right after that, it goes down by, 10, 20, 30%. And so when you invest gradually, automatically, months after months, then you remove this kind of emotional risk of feeling very bad about the timing of your investment. The next one is pay yourself first. So you probably have heard that one before. And essentially what you want to do is you want to determine how much you should invest per month. And this shouldn't be whatever is left at the end of the month, if there is anything left. It should be the other way around. First, you determine how much you need or you want to invest. And as soon as your salary comes in, you invest that money. And then you make your life work with whatever is left. And this is a complete game changer because you don't rely on not spending too much or on having something left at the end of the month. You also continuously invest the right amount, the same amount, instead of having something that varies and possibly having months where you don't invest at all because you have a big expense, etc. The next habit that I have, and I don't know, it's a habit, but it's actually more of a mindset. And it encompasses a little bit everything that comes with investing. And it's about prioritizing investing in your life. And that sounds like, yes, of course, you should prioritize investing. But what I mean by that is that investing should become one of the major parts of your life. You have your house, you have your kids, you have your spouse, you have your family, you have your job, obviously, big part of your life. You might have a hobby, I dance bachata, for example. It's a big part of my life. So you have a few things in your life that are very high on your priority list that kind of occupy a lot of brain space. And if you want to become a successful investor, then investing needs to become one of them. And if you're not so much into investing yet, and that might sound annoying, but actually, once you become an investor and you know how to go about it, you know how to do it, you know you are doing it, you have a portfolio that's growing over time, you keep contributing to it. Once you are in that zone, investing is actually fun. Investing becomes this extremely interesting thing. And I know you might think, oh yeah, it's easy for you to say, you're always in finance or whatever, but I promise you, I've seen it over and over with all my clients. Once they understand how it works, once they learn how to implement it in the best way possible for their specific multi-country life, and they actually implement and have everything growing in place, growing, they keep contributing, they start really liking it. It's like everything in life. When you don't know something that much, it's impossible to like it. It's impossible to value it. It's impossible to understand it. And once you're really into it, this changes completely, and it's easy actually to make it a priority in your life, to make it a big topic in your life. Another aspect of prioritizing investing in your life also means prioritizing investing versus or in addition to trying to earn more, being promoted, essentially increasing your salary. And for a very long time, especially in my 20s, my financial plan, basically, or my vision was earning more, being promoted, somehow increasing my salary. That was my vision of what was needed to become well off, basically, to have more money. And the moment I understood that actually this is only 50% of the equation, the other 50%, which is at least as important, is what you do with that money. Because if you spend it all or nearly, it doesn't matter that you make 500,000 a year if 20 years down the line there is almost nothing left because you've spent it all, or worse, well, it's not worse, but it's almost as bad. You kept savings in cash, which lost value due to inflation because you didn't take the time and to understand how to invest, or you did, but you invested in some kind of suboptimal investments. And so you didn't take advantage of all this money that you made to grow a large portfolio for your retirement. Now let's move on to the aspect of how to spend money like a millionaire or like someone who is growing into becoming a millionaire. And essentially, the way I go about it is that I don't deprive myself of any spending, far from. However, I look for quality over quantity. I have no interest in buying a lot of clothes, in buying a lot of expensive jewelry, in even going out all the time for fancy dinners. We're gonna get back to that. I don't have any interest in that. However, when I do buy something, when I do go out, I'm not so much looking at the price. I'm looking at something that of quality, that will last for a long time, that is timeless, that I will like for a long time. And if I'm going out or if I'm doing some kind of activity, I'm looking at something that will give me a lot of happiness, that will be a very nice memory for myself, for my kids. And so rather than buying and going out, I really pick and choose and put my money on the things that really matter to me and that will continue to matter over the long run. The next habit is a little bit related, and it's about quality of life versus looking rich. And I think all of us at some point in our life, especially when we are young, we want to look rich. I think that's a given. And whatever looking rich means for anyone, whether it's having branded handbags, branded shoes, a nice car or a nice house, and whatever it means for you, looking rich, at some point, I think we all fall victim to that aspect, especially when we're teenagers. But the thing is, once you're building wealth, once you have a sizable portfolio, once you've passed your first million, actually looking rich becomes really like, I would say almost a non-topic. What I'm looking for is quality of life. So I want a very nice apartment in a nice location. I want a comfortable car that is seamless to drive and to park, mind you. But I don't need a flashy brand new car every 3 years or every 5 years. However, I'm not going to go for Suzuki, as I was pointing out to one of my family members not so long ago. I have a Mercedes B. I had it for the last 8 years, and I'm counting of doing another 2 years with it. And I know that for my next car, I'm going to look for a quality car and possibly a 1 or 2 years old car, which will give me great quality of life and will last a long time, rather than looking cool every 4 years with a new car. The next habit is one of my favorite topics of all times. It's about optimizing for tax, or more precisely, taking taxation into consideration for all your major financial and life decisions. Okay? And so that means choosing where to live. That means choosing your investments and the way you invest. That means optimizing for tax in countless ways with all the deductions that you can, knowing what tax deductions you can do, in which context, for which person in your household, what are the maximum, what's considered okay, what's too much, when is it accepted and not. Knowing your way around taxes might seem, again, a little bit boring if you've never done that before, but adopting that mindset of optimizing for tax is a big part of becoming a successful investor. And wealthy people do that. Especially if you're already well on your way, you need to take that into consideration for all your major life decisions, just like I do. The next habit that really is a big difference for me, and I was fortunate enough that it naturally occurred for me, and if it's not the case for you, you need to somehow organize it. And this is to surround yourself with other people who are successful long-term investors. And I would like to insist on the long-term aspect, because if your husband or whoever you know at work is trading in and out of stocks or of crypto and calling themselves successful investors, that's not the kind of people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of people who actually proactively invest for the long term. They've been doing that for many years, possibly decades. They have built wealth. They have transformed their salary into millions, or they are well on their way. And so that's the kind of people you want to surround yourself with, whether it's your family, if that's your case. And that's my case. I'm very fortunate. And so I've lived in that environment where I'm surrounded with people, where I'm very close to people, my family, who are good investors, long-term investors in the stock market, in real estate. This, of course, makes it normal for me and makes it interesting. That's what we talk about when we have family dinners. That's what we talk about when we call each other. It's not the only thing we talk about, but it's a big part of our family life. And so if you don't have that in your family, I understand not everyone can benefit from that, then you need to seek people who do that. And they unfortunately don't run in the streets. There are not that many. But if you are looking for a community, then check out the link below. I have a program and we have an online community. We have more than 1,500 people have done this program. The community of active participants is 700 people, and we organize in-person get-togethers for active members. So if you're looking for a community, check the link below. Another aspect is to teach your kids about finance, investing, and taxes. Yes, I speak to my kids about investing almost every week. Of course, in an age-appropriate way. I make it normal. I make it, like a normal thing, like a part of life. I teach them concepts. The first concept that was easy to teach was about real estate. We buy an apartment and some people want to live in there, and so they pay us rent to live in there. And so that's one way to invest. And that was very easy to understand. And as they grow up, I keep introducing new topics. I also talk about taxation. And that's actually something that Robert Kiyosaki recommended in his famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which if you haven't read it, you should definitely put it on your list. That's a classic, and it's actually very easy to read because essentially it's a story. And one of the points of the story is to actually involve kids very early on into these financial worlds, financial discussions, also through games, etc. And I'm definitely doing that with my kids. And I highly suggest that you do that with yours. Now, obviously, you need to know quite a bit about it to be able to teach them the right things. And so if you want to learn more, make sure to subscribe to this channel or check the link below this video. The next 3 habits actually were something I discussed with one of my sisters who is an accountant. And so she brought this back to my attention and she's very right. The first one is to keep nice files and folders on your laptop and also for printed documentation. And this is something that I didn't do earlier on in my life as a young adult. And once I started doing it, it made so much sense and it's so much better in so many ways. And I get so much more time and clarity, whether it's about my investments, my taxes, and other administrative topics. And I want to show you something because it might inspire you. My folder structure here. So here is my folder structure. You can inspire yourself from this one. Depending on your life, it might look a little bit different as well. But essentially, I have admin for everything that's, I don't know, related to the government, like, for example, my passports and ID cards for my kids, etc. Bank accounts, self-explanatory. Household is for any kind of household or house-related expense that I have. Insurance, self-explanatory. Investment accounts. Miscellaneous, so for anything that doesn't fit kind of in the other folders. I have retirement accounts where I keep what I've accumulated over the years in different countries. Taxation, also taxation, tax in Switzerland, but also tax abroad. Anything related to my work and to family. And if you wonder why I have family last, well, I actually started this folder structure before I even had kids. So it's a long time ago. And if we look, for example, here, you can see that for every year, I create a folder. So for tax, it's a tax return folder. If we go, for example, to investment accounts, you can see that I have one for every year. And I put in there whatever files I have related to my investments, whether it's stock market investments, whether it's crypto investments, property investments, and the likes. And the idea is that I keep this very consistent, and then I have year folders for all the different years, and this makes it easy to retrieve files whenever I need them. The next habit is quite powerful, is to keep a worksheet, whether it's in Google Sheet or in Excel Sheet, where you can track your net worth every month or every quarter. But actually every month is better. And we have a template for that in our paid program, but essentially that's a Google Sheet where you list everything that you can include in your net worth, whether it's your bank accounts, your investment accounts, your retirement accounts, and your house, your properties, etc. And every month you update the figures that needs to be updated so you can see where you stand and how your net worth is increasing and evolving over time. And this, especially when we talked about prioritizing investing, this is a great way to do that. And at the beginning, it might kind of feel strange, but if you make a habit of it, you will naturally want to invest more and grow your net worth and grow your wealth, grow your portfolio so that you can update your sheet next month and it's gonna look better. And the last habit is to check every quarter or so if you have some cash lying around that you could invest. Now, obviously, you want to keep a security fund, which if you have one that you're happy with, great. If you don't yet have one that you're happy with, or if you're still growing one, then one quick tip for you is that you should actually build that at the same time as you invest. Meaning that, of course, you want to have some money that's set aside, a few thousands for direct emergencies. But beyond that, for your full kind of security fund, what you want to do is to split the amount that you have to invest. And part of it goes into building your security fund if it's not completely built yet. And the other part goes to investing. And this way, you can achieve both. You can build security and you can also invest and grow your wealth over time. And so coming back to the habit, what you want to do is check, is there some money that actually is left over that you can top up and invest? Wire that to your investment portfolio and make sure it gets invested in addition to what you're investing automatically every month. Voila, I hope you found this insightful and that you picked a few of these habits to start today. And if you like this video and you want more tips about finance and investing as an expat, you can always subscribe to this channel. I plan to create many more videos like this about the financial challenges that high-earning expats and those otherwise living in a multi-country context face. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.